All right. Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in. My name is Carrie. I am City Market's Assistant Outreach and Education Manager. I saw a lot of familiar names on my list, so some of you have probably heard this spiel 100 times before, but I did see a lot of new names, which is awesome, so welcome. This is probably the only time that you're going to see me on camera. I'll be behind the scenes for the rest of the live stream. I will go back and put an announcement into the Q&A box to show you where that is and how to access it. So at any time during tonight's live stream, if you have a question, a comment, you want to share a story, go ahead and type it into the Q&A box. I will see them. And if it's a question for Audrey, our lovely instructor, I can read those out. Or if it's something that I can answer on my end, I can type a response to you. So I'll show you where that is when I go behind the scenes. If you're joining us a little bit late, if you're just getting home, logging on, and if you want to catch up to where we are rather than watching from the very beginning, you can hit live. It's down at the bottom near the play pause button. And like I said, that catches you up to us being live rather than making you watch from the very beginning. I will also say that you all are watching us on about a 20 to 30-second delay in terms of the live capabilities of this live stream. So if you're like, why haven't I gotten to my question yet? I submitted it a while ago. It could be that it's just coming up and we just haven't gotten to it yet. It hasn't come back to you yet, 30 seconds later. I think that's it from me. I will turn things over to our lovely instructor, Audrey. And like I said, I'll go behind the scenes, show you where that Q&A box is. And if anybody has any questions at any time, let me know and I will do what I can to help. Audrey, take it away.
Thank you, Carrie. Ta-da! Hi, everybody. Well, thanks so much for joining us today. I love doing the cooking shows here with City Market and Carrie. Today's episode is going to be about holiday goodies that you can make in your kitchen and give as Christmas gifts. So the first thing we're going to work on or make is a traditional shortbread cookie. And there's a lot of different ways you can riff on these. This one I actually added some fresh rosemary that I just blitzed with a clean coffee grinder. You can make these in different shapes, and they last a long time. So you can put them in these cute little boxes or any cute little box. I got these on Amazon, and links to a lot of the things that I'm using today are in the description that Carrie has so nicely put up for us. So anyways, you know, this makes a totally cute gift. The other thing we're going to be working on today is hand-dipped dark chocolate truffles. So these are all hand-dipped. There's this has a hard ganache so that you can dip it, and then on the ganache you can add all these beautiful extras. So we have like gold luster dust. We actually have edible gold leaf. We have little bits of raspberry. Oh, and these really, really neat, what are they called? Transfer sheets that you can get with all these beautiful designs. So I'm just going to move this out of the way so we can get started on our shortbread. So the dough for the shortbread couldn't be any more simple. First thing I'm going to start to do is it's 2 sticks of butter, softened butter, nice and soft. I'm going to start that in the KitchenAid. I'm going to cream it, get it going nice and creamy. While that's creaming, I can get our other ingredients ready. I'm going to turn that up so you can hear me. So I've got 2 cups of all-purpose flour.
You can actually keep it going. The mic does a really good job, or should do a pretty good job of picking you up.
Okay. 2 cups of all-purpose flour. Oh gosh, I didn't think about this. Oh, let's see. Using a scale. At one point, I'm going to show scales. Like so simple. So 2 cups. all-purpose flour. So you just want to make sure that you have your flour leveled off. And I'm just going to pour it on here and clean this mess up later. Okay, and then it is 3 1/4 cup of confectioner sugar, powdered sugar, whatever you like to call it. So,
well, sorry for the glitchiness, folks. I did restart our audio software, so hopefully that should fix the glitching issue. But let me know if you're still having trouble.
I don't know if I told you this, but I'm putting this all in I'm going to sift it together because a lot of times powdered sugar has lumps and we don't want any lumps.
Oh, we have Peg asking a question. Peg asks, what do you think of using lavender instead of rosemary?
Oh my gosh, that's such a great idea. And in fact, I think I've had some before at this incredible little cafe in Griffith Park a million years ago. And you know what? That's what I was thinking of when I actually made the rosemary. I'm pretty sure it was a lavender. Do it. Tell us how it goes.
And if you don't have a coffee grinder, could you just chop it super finely with a
knife?
knife? Okay.
You could just chop it super fine. So that's 3/4 cup of powdered sugar, and then 1 1/4 teaspoons of coarse salt or kosher salt. And don't skimp on the salt because the salt really makes everything taste so good. And also that's unsalted butter. I always use unsalted butter for all of my cooking and baking because then you can really control the amount of salt that you're putting in your recipe. Salted butter maybe for bread if you want, if you like that kind of thing. But for cooking, unsalted butter.
And we have someone else asking, is there a way to make this cookie recipe without having a stand mixer?
Well, do you have strong arms? Yeah. You know, you could even do this with hand beaters.
Hand beaters, yeah.
Or handheld beaters, whatever they call those, electric beaters. You could do it like that. So I didn't show you, but there was a lot of lumps in there. And actually, this kosher salt won't go through there. So I just grab it and sprinkle it in. And I love.
We have someone commenting, make sure you use culinary lavender so things don't taste like soap. Yeah, we did a blueberry lavender pie and we made sure that we got culinary lavender instead of there's like.
Yeah, that's the other thing is make sure that it is you know, no chemicals on it or anything like that.
Do you grow lavender on your farm?
Do I grow lavender on my farm? Just a tiny bit. I want to grow some more lavender this year because I am starting to do more things with cooking and edible flowers. So I definitely do want to do that. Now, I was going to say something, but I forgot what it was.
Oh, sorry.
But I think I'm okay. So I've got everything sifted in here. Oh, this is the time when I would add the lavender or the rosemary chopped up. I would mix it in here and then put everything in here. So my butter is nice and mixed, and I don't know if you can see my my mixer here.
You can kind of see down into it a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I always make sure that I scrape the sides. Whoops. And the bottom at every kind of step.
We have someone asking, do you have any substitution suggestions for baking for vegans? I knew this would come up, which is why I quizzed you on it earlier.
Right, I know. I don't know about that actually. I'm so sorry. But I can try to do some research, and if you leave your information, I can try to get back to you. So I'm going to add a little at a time of the flour mixture into my softened butter.
I know that downstairs we do sell something called, there's like a vegan butter that we sell, Miyoko's, that specifically says it's like great for baking. So someone out there, if you're watching and you're vegan, try it and let us know how it turns out. Send us pictures.
So I want to start it so the flour doesn't go all over the place. And just going to scrape the bottom up a little because a lot of times just these little bits of flour get stuck in the bottom and they don't get incorporated, and that can just really mess up your recipe. And I'm going to add the rest. You can do it in 2 or 3. Remember, start slowly. I have had some serious so it's kind of like coarse right now, and it's gonna sort of all come together. Now, there are a lot of ways to make these cookies. Some people want this to come together really smooth. Other people want it to still stay crumbly. I find that I've made it a lot in the past couple of days, that having it smooth is the key for me, because then I can get it into my pie pan, make a really smooth top, which is quite beautiful.
We have someone saying, this recipe seems very similar to Russian or Mexican tea cookies, but easier. Does this have a similar taste minus all the powdered sugar? And then the secondary question, could adding nuts and sprinkling with powdered sugar be delicious?
I think I'd have to look at the recipe, but yeah, with those cookies, the nuts is a I can't remember anything, but I certainly can remember what the actual ratios to things are. I would keep this pretty simple and then make Russian tea cakes also, because those are a little bit lighter and crumblier. So yeah, I would stick to this recipe. Excuse me. Hold on a sec. Hold on.
Yeah, and I'll apologize also for the glitching. I think maybe there's something about the stand mixer that's throwing off our Bluetooth mics. So once we're done the stand mixer portion of class, we can we'll get back to better sound.
Okay.
But
sorry, maybe some flour got in my throat. Okay. Oops.
Someone asked, where would I purchase culinary lavender? Probably Amazon, right? Or like a local co-op.
A local co-op might have it. I would definitely check Amazon. Also, Etsy might have something like that.
What about flavorings, liquid flavorings, such as vanilla, peppermint, or almond? Or would that throw off?
I wouldn't do it.
No.
I wouldn't do it. This is a traditional recipe. I mean, of course, you can riff, but these butter, flour, sugar ratio is really important for this texture. All right, so if you do it, let us know. Let us know how it goes. But I think you should be careful with the ratios of all of those things. So now I'm buttering my tin. Now you can make this in a pie pan. You can make this in a this is a removable bottom quiche or tart pan. I'm just using a wax piece of paper that goes around your butter. These are great for buttering things when you're baking.
And that's the thing about these classes is take the inspiration from what Audrey's showing you and go and make your own. But we would love to see photos of your testimonials. Please. Yes, because it's a lot more fun when we can all be in the kitchen baking together, but we can reach more of you with these live streams. So let us know how it turns out.
Please do. Okay, so now you can see this is a really beautiful dough. It looks so beautiful. I can eat way too much dough. So I'm just going to press this into my pie pan. my tart tin. Get all of that goodness out of there.
The other thing that's fun is if people want to share in the Q&A box where they're watching from. Like I said, these live streams have opened us up to a much wider audience. So I know we have a bunch of Burlington and other Vermonty folks watching, but if you're watching and want to post your location, that would be awesome to know.
Yeah, come on, Frederick crowd, Frederick, Maryland. So now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to push this dough in quickly. I mean, it doesn't have to go quickly, but I just doesn't have to be super fancy or perfect or anything like that. Pushing that into the tart pan evenly, as evenly as possible at this point, but I have a fabulous trick for how to get the top really beautiful and smooth.
Got Indianapolis, Indiana. We've got Arlington, Virginia. Thanks for figuring out the time zone differences, especially with daylight savings. It always throws a wrench in people logging on for a week or two. Chicago.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Massachusetts, San Fran. Awesome. We got the whole country. We got a whole spread.
That is so cool. Okay, so here she is, but I want to make a really beautiful top. So I'm going to use a piece of, this is round parchment paper that you can also find on Amazon. And then the bottom of a measuring cup is so great for making a smooth situation.
Look at that. Beautiful. And I love how with this pan too, it'll make those beautiful fluted edges.
Yes.
It'll have some interest on the edge. We've got Shelburne, welcome. We've got
Shelburne,
Ontario, Canada, Albuquerque, South Burlington, Cleveland, Philly, more Cleveland, more Canada.
Philly.
Awesome.
Is that my cousin? Lisa, is that you?
Anonymous, I can't tell you.
Anonymous.
We have someone who says, I'm in Burlington and I found it very comforting to hear that others eat too much dough as well. It's a big weakness of mine.
I do. I eat too much. But I have to tell you, when I owned my bakery in Los Angeles, I was in the best shape of my life. Well, looking, I guess. Maybe physically it wasn't so good, but all I ate was cupcake batter, frosting, and then a salad. I'd have one salad a day. But I mean,
balance, right?
Yeah, it was a balanced diet. It really was. I looked great.
San Diego, Orlando, Brooklyn. Someone says, any tips for high altitude adjustments for baking this recipe? You ever bake at high altitude?
Hold on, what I gotta say. Brooklyn's in the house. That is so exciting. High altitude. I have to Google everything. So I would just Google how you do your high altitude baking, because there's different high altitudes as well. So just Google that. Okay.
Toronto, Minnesota, and Waterbury. People are happy to share. This is great. Essex Junction.
Nice.
Whole spread.
Okay, so look how smooth and beautiful that is. So this is going to go in the fridge for about 20 minutes or longer. Be careful when you're holding this though, because this bottom, if you don't hold it like this, you can just, and then that would be a mess. Thank you. So after 20 minutes, you have this nice firm dough that you're gonna put in the oven, and voila, we have one ready for us. I even have a note on it for myself.
A little bit of TV magic.
Yes.
How to make 20 minutes go by instantaneously.
So one of the reason that we chill this is because there's so much butter in this, and if I would just cooked it after making that, you saw how soft that dough was. It would just spread out, and it would not keep its nice cookie. So I'm just gonna cut this, or not cut it. I'm gonna mark it.
So you're not going all the way through.
No, I'm not at all. And I'm not even using the sharp side. I'm using the back edge of the knife. And you could, you know, be really fancy and somehow use a ruler. I wouldn't even know how to do that, but I'm just marking this. Now that was a little off, but that's okay.
It'll still taste the same.
Yes, but it's
have,
got to be pretty for
gifting.
For gifting.
We have Melbourne, Australia. So we have our first international attendee
Say what?
tonight. We have Manhattan. And somebody asking, could you use the same recipe and instead of rolling it into a pie plate, roll it into balls and then press a pattern into the dough? Could you make little?
I'm not sure because this is about, I don't know, almost a ½ inch thick. Mm-hmm. You can always try it. I mean, it's 2 cups of flour, 2 sticks of butter, almost, a little less than a cup of powdered sugar. So it's not gonna break your bank if it doesn't work. So I did a terrible job of scoring this, but it doesn't matter. And now what we're gonna do is take something like a bamboo skewer and poke holes all the way down. Now, they used to, back in the olden days, use forks. But this is even prettier. The forks are cute too. Now this makes a lovely pattern, but it also helps the cookies cook all the way through. They're very dense and they want to be pretty dry and crumbly when they're finished. And they cook at a low temperature for about an hour. And this just helps them cook all the way through. Okay. I'm gonna have my lovely assistant finish this for me so that we can move on to the next. We're gonna put this in a 300-degree oven for about an hour. When it comes out, it should be all this pale golden brown, no brown spots. Thank you. And voila, we have this one, just came out of the oven. Now I baked this in a pie crust, and since I was so worried about getting my necktie correct if I needed to wear it or not, I forgot to make the markings, but it doesn't matter. So with something like this, it's a tiny bit trickier because it doesn't have that removable bottom, but there's so much butter in here. It's going to be totally fine. I'm going to see if I can flip it over onto my hand. And I can't. So I'm just going to take a clean knife and sort of give it a little bit around the edge. Oh, there we go. It's totally.
I heard it.
Yeah. Totally. So actually the best way to do this is with a towel. There we go. And then this ensures that you will not do any damage. Or does it? Okay. Magic tricks too. Cooking and magic. Okay, I wish you could smell this. This smells amazing. So I'm going to use a very sharp knife and a thin knife. That's what I like to use. So sometimes, if you use a big chef's knife, it gets really thick up here, but this is going to make really fabulous cuts. Famous last words, right?
And now if you were actually baking this at home because we had to do the TV magic, do you want to let it cool completely before you flip it out of the pan or do it while it's hot?
What would I do without you? Yes, let it cool completely on a, I was gonna do the whole rigmarole and show you. Yes, so put it on a rack, let it cool completely, and then cut it. And this is cutting like a dream. It smells incredible. incredible. It's so buttery.
Could you bake it in a square cake tin with parchment paper underneath it to pull it out easily?
Yeah, you could bake in a cake tin probably without the parchment paper because you saw how easily that just popped out of here. So the parchment paper is just going to kind of put like little wrinkles in the bottom of it. Either way is fine, but you probably don't need it. Just run a thin knife around the edge and pop it out.
We have someone asking, could you give the flour and sugar measurements in grams? That's probably something you want to just do the Google conversion, right? I don't know off the top of my head what 2 cups.
I hope that we all go to scale and grams. Ounces, so confusing to me on a scale. And measuring everything on a scale is so much easier. When I owned my bakery, I converted everything into grams, even like egg whites and things like that. It's so great. So for now, there's a really easy converter on Google. Send it to me, and then I'll put it up on my website. So here we go. A beautiful slice of heaven.
Do you want to break one to show how crumbly it is? We know we're going to eat one.
Yeah. Do you see how crumbly and beautiful that crust is? Can you see that?
I bet it would be really good with gluten-free flour too if you were trying to do gluten-free because you're trying not to make any gluten in this. You want it crumbly.
It's so good. I made these all weekend, and I told my husband, I was like, please eat some of these. I can't stop eating them. And he ate it. And he's not like a super sweet person, but he was like, I don't see how you can stop eating them.
I'm excited to try one, but
yeah,
after class because
they are so good. Another thing I did today, because sometimes the inner part is not quite as crumbly as the outer part. And I mean, that texture of the crumbly part is so good. So today I baked mine for an hour, and then I actually turned the oven off and I just stuck like a wooden spoon in the oven so that it was open just a little bit, and I let it sit in there for another 5 to 10 minutes. So I could hopefully get this crumbliness that's in the crust all the way through.
Someone wants to know your website.
My website is now at this point called Poker Hill Flower Farm. I'm not sure if we're changing it or not, but you'll definitely will be able to find us with that for now and forevermore. Poker Hill Flower Farm. I have a little flower farm here in Underhill, but I'm going back to cooking and baking and sort of design and events. I love throwing these flower arranging or wreath making events. We've got 2 incredible wreath making events coming up in Stowe this Saturday and next Saturday. We have a few tickets left for the second event.
I will post that in the chat for folks.
Yeah. So here are the beautiful cookies, and you can, stack them on top of each other and just tie a ribbon around it. Again, put them in a box with a ribbon. They last a really nice long time.
Somebody says, does it come out of the pan easier if the product is hot? And we've talked probably not. You want to let it completely cool.
Yeah, I would let it completely cool because then it kind of hardens up, and otherwise it might be soft and maybe stick a little. So I would let it cool.
One last question on the shortbread, and then we'll move on to, I think, chocolate truffles next, right? Could you poke the holes with the skewer before you chilled the dough? Or would it be too squishy?
I wouldn't do that because when you pull it out, it kind of pulls the dough out a little bit. So chilling it and then poking the holes,
great,
excuse me, is the way to go. My God. Oh, I shouldn't have started. I'm never going to be able to stop. Take these away. Okay. We're going to do a quick switcheroo.
Yep.
And put all of the shortbread stuff away and come back and with the other exciting situation of the day, which is the chocolate truffle making.
Yeah.
So just sing a song, do a dance. I'm gonna just clean up here real quick.
I think this is the part that people are super excited about because I think chocolate scares people.
Oh yeah,
Tempering.
I'm scared too. Every time I do it, I'm scared. But it's just chocolate. It's just food. Okay. Yum. All right. So Carrie is actually over there helping me out. She is putting the cream on the stove to start warming up and getting up to a boil. So let me just get my other million things over here real quick. Sorry about this, guys, but just how it has to go.
So there's your simmering water.
Okay.
So I lied. You will see me on screen one more time. The elusive Carrie.
We want to. We want to, darling. Now look what I got. The scale. What else do I need? I'm just going to come back over here if I need it because I can't think about all these things at once.
I'll grab.
Oh, I know what I need. There's one last thing. Okay. So for the chocolate truffles, now this is a dark chocolate truffle. There's a couple of things that you must keep in mind, and that is no water can touch the chocolate ever. It seizes it up and makes it unusable. So make sure your bowls and everything, your utensils have no water on them at all. So the first thing I'm going to do is make the ganache, which is the filling. And I'm going to use this bowl. So I don't know if you haven't used scales before, what you do is you turn them on, and you put your bowl or plate or whatever, and use this little tar button. And that takes into account the weight of this and puts it back at 0. So we're using 12 ounces of chocolate. This is 12 ounces of chocolate.
I think you put that in there to remind you to take part of it.
Right. This is
Yeah,
the chocolate for the chocolate shell. Pretty lay. All right, I'm back. A lot of moving parts here, folks. So I'm going to use 12 ounces of chocolate for the ganache. The ganache is the filling. And then we're going to also make a tempered chocolate that covers the filling. Okay. So that's 12 ounces. Well, that's just not 12. Perfect. Okay, so my cream, I have 4 ounces of cream that
There was more tech issues while I was over at the stove, so I restarted the software and it should be fine. Don't know what's going on with it tonight. It just doesn't feel like cooperating. So thank you for people who were alerting me in the chat. Someone said no one can stop eating shortbread. That's my question in making them small cookies versus wedges. Wedges are dangerous. Yeah, sorry about that. It should be back to normal now. There we go.
Okay, so I've put the hot cream on top of my chocolate, but this is a hard ganache, so it has 12 ounces of chocolate to 4 ounces of cream. So it's not going to melt completely like that. So I'm going to put it over a double boiler and bring it all together.
Somebody asks if you add the butter now or closer to the end.
We add the butter right at the end. And so adding the butter just makes it a soft mouthfeel. It helps with the mouthfeel, makes this chocolate softer. And so I want to kind of keep an eye on that. I don't really have to make sure I know what temperature my chocolate is at for making the ganache, but it is fun to check. So I have this new,
Fancy.
I have this really cool infrared thermometer. Let's see, where are we at here? It's only 82. It takes about 120 degrees for chocolate to melt. Ooh.
You have the rags right there on your station. Yep. And just in case anybody's curious in the area, this is the Calabo 70% dark that's down in the bulk section.
Yeah,
so it's great because you can
so
buy
awesome because it's already in little pieces.
Yep, and you can buy just exactly what you need instead of having to put together like 4 bags or.
Right. So am I on camera or no? I'm just stirring over the hot plate.
If you need to turn the hot plate down to, like if you need it more to simmer than a boil, it can go down.
Yes, you want to make sure that no steam is coming up over that into your water, or no drips of water.
Can you rescue it if it gets water in it, or it's just totally done?
Not.
Okay. Good.
You just have to eat it all.
And start over.
So I'm gonna put my ganache into a pan and let it cool. So then we're gonna be able to cut it into the shapes that we want. And then we will cover those with the
fancy stuff.
with more chocolate.
Yeah, and just so everybody knows too, in case you didn't look too closely at your handout, some of the things in the handout are linked. They're hyperlinked. So they are links to products that Audrey enjoys using or has used or bought for this class. So things like the decorations, some of the equipment is linked in that handout.
Yes. Okay. So let me see. All right, so some people want to know about using a whisk, and you really don't need to use a whisk for this. You don't want to get a lot of air into this. And you don't want to heat it too hot. There is such a thing as kind of burning your chocolate. All right, so this is all incorporated. I'm going to put about a tablespoon of soft butter in here, and that, as I mentioned, is just going to give your chocolate this beautiful mouth feel. Now, at this point, you can use a spatula if you need to. Well, let's just see if it all comes together. So chocolatey. Oh, the other thing, the other thing you can do is you can flavor these. So if you like cognac or Grand Marnier or something like that, you would just remove, you would do an ounce of liqueur and remove an ounce of the cream. And you add that, I would add the liqueur right about now too.
It smells so good in here. I wish we had like smell-o-vision cameras because I wish I could, pipe this chocolatey smell to everybody watching. And I will put the name of the chocolate that we're using in the chat because I realized it wasn't in the handout, but it's spelled Callebeaut, Calabo. And this is their 70% dark I think they call them like bits or squares.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It is a fantastic.
If you're doing, you mentioned earlier, you could do this with white chocolate. Is there any differences given that white chocolate is like not really chocolate?
Yeah, there's different temperatures for melting chocolate. White chocolate is sort of the lowest temperature, and then milk chocolate is the next, and then dark chocolate is the highest temperatures for melting. Hold on one sec. I'm just gonna make sure I'm doing everything perfect. So you can put this in a sheet pan or a pie plate or really anything that you want and have handy, but this is pretty handy.
Just want to make sure you line it, right?
Yes.
Talking earlier about how.
Make sure you line it.
It's a just trial and error to get them out.
Yeah. And just making sure that I don't, yeah. So I'm putting this into my lined tray. Oh, gee, what am I going to do with all that little bits of chocolate left in there?
Someone's going to have
I'm trying to get it all out, but I can't get it all out.
Nicole says there are so many great ideas here and then asks if the video will be available later. Yes, we will put it up on our website at a later date. I'll send an email up, or I'll send an email out when it goes up. It'll take us a while to get it up, but yes, you'll be able to watch again and learn again.
Yeah. All right. Did I make more last time? Chocolate last time. So I'm just spreading this out to get a nice even layer. And here's what I'm thinking. This seems to be, I don't know how this could be because I use the same recipe, I think. But I feel like if I spread it all the way over, it would be too thin. So since it's so thick, I can just keep it on one side, and that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, are you aiming for a certain, like, are you looking for a 1/2 inch thick? What thickness are you looking for here?
I would say about a 1/2 inch thick.
Okay.
Now you can make them as thick as you want, but you don't want to make them too thin because then when you put them in the warm chocolate ganache, or no, not the ganache, but the
tempered
shell, the tempered, then it's just going to melt too quickly, and it's going to be too delicate to work with. That's what I'm going to do for now. That's what I'm doing, and I'm sticking to it. So then with this, you're just going to let this sit out till it gets nice and firm. So that could be overnight. If you're in a super duper rush, you could put it in the refrigerator, but then let it come back to room temperature before you dip it, because that can cause cracking and all kinds of bad stuff. So now I'm going to put this aside.
I have someone asking, would adding the alcohol, like you said, flavoring it with the alcohol, cause the chocolate to harden or seize up? Or is it a small enough amount that it's blended into the cream?
Because it's alcohol, for some reason, it works.
Okay.
But so water doesn't. Huh. Water does not work.
Yeah, we have someone else asking, could you add hot pepper? And if so, which one would give a bit of a bite if you wanted to do like spicy truffles?
Oh yeah, you know, I was looking up some recipes for that last night because I was thinking that'd be pretty cute little topping actually. It's just like a little chili flake. You can use cayenne pepper. I even saw a recipe where you could simmer the cream with a pepper. So you would,
like a fresh one.
Yeah, cut out the seeds, put that pepper in with the cream, let it simmer at a low temperature for a while, then take the pepper out and bring that up to the boil, and then use that to flavor the chocolate. And then also adding a little cayenne pepper.
So cayenne, or like if you want really spicy, maybe a habanero. Or is that, you think, too
I mean,
spicy?
just I suppose it's the kind of peppers you like. I have a super sensitive throat, which is why I don't know much about peppers. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to the tempered chocolate.
I think this is the part that scares me.
Tricky.
Yeah.
So please bear with me. I feel my pulse raising already. Okay. I'm going to show you what the, I'm going to show you now because I'm talking about it. So this is what the ganache is going to look like when you get it out of your, whatever you put it into, your tray. And then you're going to cut this into whatever shapes you want. And then you're going to dip it in the shell coating, the tempered chocolate. And then you can put all these fun things on top. Okay. So now it's the time for the tempered chocolate. My pulse is raising. Okay. So I've got, I want a pound of chocolate. Let's see what we got here. Let's see if this could be a pound exactly.
I wonder.
Carrie.
I wonder.
It's a pound and one tiny thingy. Okay, so I'm going to use a pound of chocolate, and I'm going to take out about a third of it. There's a lot of different ways that you can temper your chocolate. You've probably all seen that old-fashioned way where they melt the chocolate, then they get this big metal slab, and they have these spatulas, and they do all this stuff. So it's about heating it up and cooling it and agitating it to this certain temperature where the chocolate becomes shiny and has this beautiful snap. Because if you just heat your chocolate up and use it like that, it kind of loses its snap, and it's really not as much fun that way.
So someone's asking, hot pepper sauce has vinegar. Would that seize the chocolate? Yeah, I wouldn't add a liquid. I would do dry powder or the simmered pepper. Okay, so I am done with my scale, and this scale is really great too. I mean, most scales, you just on the back, you can change it to grams or pounds, ounces. Okay, where's my spatula? My second spatula. You need a different one from the one that's in the shortbread.
Oh dear.
We have some.
Let's see. Yeah, need one more spatula. Thanks. Okay, so I probably should have put this on a little earlier to get it going. But here's the tricky part, and believe me, this is tricky. I'm going to actually read the directions for this because I don't want to get it wrong. You want to heat your chocolate till it's about 120 degrees, or when all the chocolate melts, it'll be 120 degrees. You don't want to go further than that. You can burn your chocolate. So don't have this at a roaring boil. Just have it at a nice simmer.
It's hot. Be careful.
Yeah. At a nice simmer, and don't have the bottom of the bowl touching the water. This is a beast, this thing.
Yeah, that thing, it takes a minute to get hot, but when it's hot, it's hot.
Yeah. The other thing with chocolate is it's so messy. And that, my friend, is why my fabulous, where the heck did my thermometer go? My fabulous infrared thermometer.
Right in front of you by the whisk handle.
Is so incredible. because I can just point it and figure out what the temperature is instead of sticking something like this, which is the old-fashioned candy thermometer, or even the new instant thermometers. You still have to take it out of that chocolate and put it somewhere. And believe me, I mean, look, this is just the beginning of the messiness. So this you need to keep an eye on the whole time. We're going for 120 degrees. This is what the tempering stuff is happening by adding the remaining fresh chocolate a little at a time while stirring constantly until it reaches 84 degrees. Again, lots of thermometers use. Now, the chocolate is tempered and ready to go, but it's not quite ready for its best use because it's a little thick because it got down to 84 degrees. So we want to get it back up to 88 to 89 degrees. Now this is the super, super, super tricky part because you don't want to go past that or you have to retemper it all over again.
Oh man.
And that stinks. It takes forever. All right, so we are almost, I don't know if you can see that, we're almost there. I might just take it off the heat and use my, what are we at? Yeah. We definitely don't want to go any hotter. We're at 120. And the thing is, I like to use these metal bowls, and I've heard that there's even some bamboo bowls that you can use, I think.
Huh.
I'll have to check that. Because the glass bowl retains heat, so when tempering, it takes forever and ever and ever. Could I get a little more water to put in here because it's gonna all boil away? Thank you. So I've got this beautiful melted chocolate, and I'm just start adding my cold room temperature chocolate to this hot chocolate and keep stirring.
Are you trying to get air into it?
Nope, not trying to get any air into it. I'm actually just trying to agitate it and cool it. This chocolate is going to cool this chocolate.
I'm sorry for the sound issues again. Hopefully I caught that one quickly. I have no idea what's going on, and I will be talking to IT tomorrow.
Okay, so this is a pretty long process right here, and there was no way for us to kind of get it going. So this is the time if you want me to sing a song or answer any questions.
Yeah, now's a great time for questions. Feel free to pop them in the chat.
Yeah.
What brand is your infrared thermometer?
Oh. Alexity. It is on the hyperlink. We have a hyperlink to it in the notes. I got it on Amazon and it was so well priced. And I mean, this is, you're cooking hamburgers and it's, you know, dark. You just, it has a glowy light thingy there. You're cooking a steak outside on the grill.
I was fascinated because I was like, how does it know what the internal temperature is? But apparently it just knows, and that's fantastic.
There's a way that you hold the button down longer for external or internal.
Cool.
Haven't figured that out yet, but but I will.
So Sherry, yes, Audrey's going to teach, like she mentioned, on December 12th, the Yule log or the Bûche de Noël. And then we are going to talk after class today and get her back on the schedule for the new year. So yes, she will continue to teach.
Yes,
if she's got
yes,
time.
yes. So I'm at 110. I wish there was a way to do this quicker. I only have a half an hour. I'm like, this is sort of what I'm thinking will help. It's to kind of
ice pack. I'm gonna like set it on an ice pack.
You know what? Maybe I will.
Yeah, I got
I'll set it on an ice pack with a towel. but I'm also scooping it and letting it go through the air. I'm also sort of making it go around the sides. And let's see, what do we got here? 108. Thanks. Put a couple of these on here. I don't want to overdo it,
Yeah.
but I'm just going to cool it just a tad. All right, so okay, this is what I want to know. Who's got some interesting Christmas dinner ideas?
Yeah, that'll be good. I'll ask you some questions that'll come in too. Someone says, I don't have a candy thermometer or an infrared thermometer. Is there a way to know when the chocolate is tempered without one? Or is this one of those things where you really do need?
I would say you really, really need one. Apparently, you can touch this right below your lip here. You're gonna have to Google this because I can't remember. It's like if it's really too hot, then you've gotten to the hotness, and when it's not too hot, you're okay. You're at the tempered situation. So that's the only way I know of doing it without the thermometer. But honestly, this thermometer was, I think, $29 on Amazon, which is such a good price.
Peg says, yep, thermometer's on sale on Amazon for Cyber Monday. So everybody go run and buy an infrared
Oh, Cyber Monday, yes.
It'll work for hard candy. I'm guessing, are you asking about the thermometer working for hard candy? If you want to put another, put a little bit more info in the chat about what you're asking. What do you do if all of the chocolate doesn't melt while cooling it? But it should, right? Because it's so hot that you're cooling it down from 120.
Oh, that.
Like the little bits that you add.
Oh, that. Yes, I dealt with that this morning. So I only got down to like, I don't know, like 190 or something. So I added some more chocolate and then it didn't melt. And then I had to heat it up. And then heat it up too much. And then I had to do the whole thing over again. So once it gets down to about, around the hundreds and 90s, I wouldn't add any more chocolate. Although I'm thinking about doing it right now because this is taking so long.
We got time.
Okay.
Someone says, guess I need to add it to my Christmas list versus getting a blister on my lip.
I think that's a good idea. But if you do it that way, send pictures. Because
and someone asked, just want to confirm we leave the ganache out overnight covered at room temperature. My instinct is to refrigerate because of the cream, but I appreciate not having to try to get it back to room temperature the next day. Is it safe to leave it out overnight at room temperature?
That one, I have been Googling that and haven't found it. I put it in my refrigerator overnight because of the cream. And then I just took it out first thing in the morning. Just let it stand at room temperature. I mean, it's not going to take more than 2 hours to come back to room temperature at the most. The other thing about this, all of this stuff, is the temperature of your kitchen. So if you're working in a really warm kitchen, this might take a little longer. Your ganache might come to room temperature quicker, maybe even too quick. Or if it's a very cold
Vermont winter kitchen.
Vermont winter kitchen. So just keep that sort of thing in mind as well. All right, so come on, tell me some good Christmas dinner ideas you guys are thinking about. Has anybody ever made the fishes of 7 suppers?
Oh, the Feast of the 7 Fishes?
Feast of the 7 Fishes. I have, and it's delicious.
We usually do a big beef roast, mashed potatoes, very traditional.
Yeah.
Popovers.
Exactly. Yep, that's one of my favorites. But this year I just thought, let's do something different. So anybody done like crown roast? What is that called?
Oh, the lamb.
The lamb.
With little hats on the bone.
Yeah. I was also just thinking of maybe doing coq au vin or something, you know, super delicious like that.
Very warm and comforting.
Yeah.
We always usually do Chinese food on Christmas Eve too.
Yeah,
But we don't make that. We buy that.
we had, I think we had cheese fondue
Oh,
for Christmas Eve last year. Okay, we're getting there.
so is the ice helping, you think?
I guess so.
sitting there?
I'm so afraid to do it. If you do it too quickly, you can really ruin it. So, oh, okay. I want to hear some of your favorite holiday treats, holiday cookies, something new that you'd like to try, something that you'd like me to teach you.
Yeah, think about January and February, Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day.
Someone says, I always do Christmas breakfast instead. I'm trying a new cinnamon roll this year, which is always popular.
Oh, that's good.
Beef
What recipe
Wellington.
are you using?
Yeah, let us know what recipe you're trying. Someone says beef Wellington, question mark.
Beef Wellington. That was on my list too. That's
Complicated.
complicated, but can be done. I've done it several times, and it is good. That's a good one. That's on my list for this year.
Toblerone shortbread crescent cookies. That sounds good.
Wow. Did you make those, or do you want to know how to make them?
Yeah, are those a family favorite? Secret family recipe?
Okay, so as I'm mixing this, you can see it's getting thicker and thicker. Let's see, where are we?
Nicole says, love my mom's Zimsterna cookies from Germany. Yep, cinnamon stars, Zimsterna. Jackie says, Christmas dinner will be either roast capon or rabbit with white wine, garlic, and preserved lemon. That sounds good.
Heavens to Betsy, where do you live?
Peg says, zucchini quiche for breakfast and baked scallops for dinner. People have a lot of good food traditions. Oh, they're a family favorite and they made them today. Awesome. Send me the recipe. That sounds great. Pfeffernuss cookies at City Market. Yep, we have Pfeffernuss here. Pepper nuts in German. English toffee. Yep, dark chocolate with salted pecans. Always a welcome gift. Yep, that's always a good Christmas thing. Fig Newtons with homemade fig jam.
Oh, wow, that sounds cool.
Oh, someone did the sourdough class series that we offered last month, and they're doing a cinnamon bun recipe using sourdough discard. Oh,
that's great. That is great.
Someone says, how about a macaron class? Would you ever teach?
Oh, yeah, I could do that. I could definitely do that.
We can put that as on the idea brainstorm list.
Yeah.
Could that be done in an hour and a half? That could, especially with doing stuff ahead.
Right? Yeah. With the magic of this kitchen.
The TV magic, yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Oui.
Okay, we're close.
It looked shinier. All of a sudden, when you lifted the spatula out, I could see it. It looked different.
Come on, baby.
Good arm workout. You're getting your muscles.
Still got a way to go. Okay. All right, so I'll just tell you what's going to happen after this gets to the right temperature. Once this is at the right temperature, I'm going to, I have pre-cut my ganache, my firm ganache, into different shapes. I'm going to use a special fork, a chocolate fork, and I'm going to dip each piece of ganache into the tempered chocolate separately. And this is another tricky part. You want to completely cover it with the chocolate, and then, and this is something I just learned, you want to have that piece of chocolate right at the end of that fork, and you're going to tap it so that most of the chocolate falls off, and then you're going to scrape along the bottom. And the reason you want that chocolate to be at the end of that fork is because you want to just lay it onto your parchment paper and pull the fork out. Otherwise, you have to and then it's not as beautiful.
And if you lose it in the big puddle of chocolate, you can always fish it back out, right?
Yeah. So Yeah, you fish it up, but you don't want to leave it in there too long because it'll melt and turn this chocolate into that chocolate. So then once that is out and on your parchment paper, then you can start adding your embellishments because you want to do that while it's still warm. So I have these amazing transfer sheets, and you can get those on Amazon, and they're all these really cool designs, and you cut out little pieces that will fit onto your chocolate, and while your chocolate's warm, you just place it on top of your chocolate, kind of press it down a little bit, and wait till the whole thing cools, and you lift off the plastic, and the design stays on. The design is made with cocoa butter. So the design stays on, and it looks like you are an absolute genius. And really fun, really shiny and beautiful. The other things.
Oh, sorry, I'll interrupt real quick. Someone asked, what if you added more of the chocolate right now and help cool it? Would that work, or would that mess up the?
Well,
tempering?
We got 92. We're almost there.
Almost there. Okay.
I could add more chocolate right now, but I run the risk of that chocolate not melting all the way because chocolate melts at 120 degrees and we are at 90 degrees right now. So it would cool it down, but it wouldn't melt all the way. And then this is not tempered chocolate that's mixed in with that chocolate. So it's not going to work. Not going to work, but we're almost there.
Is your thermometer the one that's spelled E-T-E-K, E-Tech City?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to put it in the chat for people.
Infrared thermometer.
Cool. I'm going to put that link, the Amazon link, in the chat because people are asking about it. You could also, it's literally the first thing that comes up when you put infrared thermometer into Amazon.
Yeah.
We have someone asking, for the person that posted about the English toffee, is that a tempered chocolate candy? I'd like to find chocolate cookies or candies that do not require tempering.
I would too.
I don't. Jacqueline says, pastry with lamination is my big fear currently. A class around those types of doughs would be great. So like croissants and stuff.
I'll see how much time I have off at Christmas to, now I have made puff pastry before, which is a laminated dough. And I mean, if you think this is a lot of work, not only do you have to pound your butter, you have to roll out your dough, make your dough, roll out your dough. Then you pound the butter. Then you put the dough in, the butter in the dough, the soft butter into the dough. And then you roll it. And then you fold it in 3 again. Then you put it in your refrigerator. And you do that literally 10 or 12 times. You have to leave it in the refrigerator for, I can't remember exactly, but maybe 20 minutes. And then bring it out and do it all over again. Roll it.
All-day thing.
It's an all-day thing. It was delicious, but I only did it once. And oh God, that was an insane dinner. Now I don't make this anymore because I didn't know at that point how terrible this was, but I made foie gras for my boyfriend. I made beef Wellington with that puff pastry, and I made a bouche de noix. And I was up all night with a stomach ache.
Oh no.
On our romantic Christmas Eve, I was like, honey, can you please go to the grocery store and get me some
ginger ale?
Some ginger ale, yeah.
Oh, that's awful.
It was delicious, but it was way too rich. I mean, a salad would have been a great little option in there.
Someone says, I live in Canada, so I'm adding the laser thermometer to my Christmas list. Here's the Amazon.Canada link. So if anybody's from Canada, there's the link for you.
Perfect. Oh my gosh. Okay, we're at 88 degrees. We only have a few degrees to go. 4 degrees. 4 degrees. Let's hear it. Countdown.
I don't know how long it's gonna take. I don't know where to start counting.
Okay. Maybe just start saying, you can do it, Audrey.
You can do it. I'll be your cheerleader. It's too bad there's not like, you can't just buy, can you just buy tempered chocolate?
You can. You can buy a chocolate. It's called Baker's chocolate. It has all this weird additive stuff in it. It's just it's inferior
Gotcha.
chocolate to this. Listen, when your loved ones taste these truffles, and do you know how much a truffle costs?
A lot.
One truffle costs like $4, I think, at a beautiful shop. So you can make a lot of truffles and
start a business.
No, God, not unless you have I don't know. You don't want to do
a hobby to say you
anything
did it.
else with your life.
I'm excited to try them. I tell you that.
I'm gonna just move this over. I'm gonna come back and stir every 30 seconds because I'm gonna get the other stuff ready while we're waiting here.
Any other questions for Audrey or me at this point? I'm happy to answer them.
Okay.
I love your little like quarter sheet pans. Those are so cute because we only have the full-size ones in the kitchen.
Oh, these are so great.
They're so great. You don't always need the full sheet pan.
I think I have a they're called Nordic something or other.
Oh, Nordic Ware. Yep.
Nordic Ware. So you can get I think this is a quarter sheet pan.
Yeah.
And I mean, these are so useful. I use them all the time.
So Jacqueline asks, if we're not into the transfer sheets, can we use a drizzled chocolate over these to decorate them? Like, could you do a white chocolate drizzle on top of a dark?
Yeah.
Or a different color? Yeah. I'm just going to give you all sorts of ideas. If you're not into the transfer sheets, we have at least like 4 other decorating options.
Oh, I do want to know why a person wouldn't be into transfer sheets, though. I'm curious.
Just aesthetically not your thing, maybe?
Well, there's so many different. Is it because it has plastic? It uses plastic?
Maybe it's just not buying one more thing. Maybe it's just using.
Right. No, I've got a million things for you here.
Yeah, we have so many options.
Okay. So I'm going to show you these options. I did not bring a cocoa nib, which I was going to, but I forgot. So one option is, I got to keep an eye on this. I don't want it to get too crazy here.
I would offer to come stir, but I'm worried that if I come from behind the camera, the sound's going to give out again.
Right. We're at 87. My gosh. We're supposed to get down to 84. Still got a little ways to go. Here we go. This is a raspberry powder that I made from dehydrated raspberries, which looks stunning. And I put it into my coffee grinder, my clean coffee grinder that I only use for herbs and spices and things. This is the same thing mixed with a little bit of confectioner's sugar, so it's a little less tart and a totally different color. This is beautiful cocoa powder that you can roll or just put a pinch on. This is the magic. This is luster dust, gold luster dust. So you can either just sort of sprinkle it on like this, or you add a little bit of lemon extract to it, and you can
it's like a paint.
Spray it on. If you use a spray, a tiny spray bottle, you could spray it on, and that works really well if you're using what are they called? Molds. That's a totally different truffle, but that makes an incredible look. But so then you can mix your powder with some of this lemon extract and make a little beautiful paint.
And that
And
is
this
edible luster dust. Make sure you're not
edible
using
luster dust.
glitter.
And there is a link. Can you see the glittery goodness of
Can you
them?
hold it up closer to the camera? Like, can you just, there you go. Perfect. Yeah, it's just like shimmery and beautiful.
So you kind of, you know, you don't want to add too much liquid. You sort of want to make it a little bit.
Oh, Jacqueline says, it's definitely not the plastic. I just like the look of the chocolate on chocolate instead of the flat design on top. Great. Yeah, try it out. Send us pictures.
Yes. Okay. All right. Everybody cross your fingers. Cross your fingers.
Fingers crossed. We'll have plenty of time.
What do we got here? I know, but it just seems so boring. I'm at 83. I'm at 83. We just had to get to 84.
We did it.
Okay, so now this part, I am scared because I have to warm it up just a tad. If I warm it up too much, we have to do the entire process all over again. So
you're looking for what now? 88?
88.
Okay.
So I'm just going to put this on and take it off. Stirring. 85. See how quickly that came up?
2 degrees in 2 seconds.
Yeah. So literally on for about 1 or 2 seconds, off, stir, temperature. What do we got here?
And this
Still
is
85?
this is showing exactly why you don't really want to use the glass bowl, because that would take so long to heat through the glass and then eventually reach your chocolate, and then it would probably go over, right?
Yeah. Well, also it just holds the heat. So you see how long it took to get it back down to that temperature.
Yeah, it would take double as long.
Okay, we are there.
Excellent.
So now it's a little bit looser than it was at 84.
It's nice and shiny and ribbony.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
All right, now for the fun part.
Do you need me to make you another like parchment lined tray or anything? You're going to work right back onto the tray that you're taking
Yeah,
off.
I'm just going to work on that.
Okay,
We'll turn the
cool.
sucker off, put this over here.
That can go right on the stove or the table because it's a metal table. So.
Okay. So putting this over here. Turning that off. So now here comes the dipping. What do I do with my chocolate fork? Here we go. All right, so we have 12 minutes left. So I would be taking this out. Well, not out. I would already have this out. This would be at room temperature. And I can just cut slices. And actually what I want to do is use a knife that is heated up in a glass of hot water, or you can put it under your sink each time to make really smooth. There you go. Cuts. So I'm just going to do one small example here.
TV magic.
Yeah. So all this is super dangerous, right? Because this is water and chocolate. So I want to be sure that I am not getting any water on my chocolate. I don't know if you can see here, but this nice hot knife just slices right through and makes a beautiful straight line. Oh, I kind of messed up there. If you really, really, really want to make everything absolutely perfect, you could use something that has like a measurement or something like this, where you kind of can just measure each one, be the same. so that they come out evenly. Really hot water is the key here, though, for cutting. Okay. Luckily, I have already made a lot of slices for us to use, a lot of pieces. Here they are. Well, here's some of the examples. I don't know if you saw them earlier, but so this is actually a dried edible flower with some gold dust powder just sprinkled on. This is some of the raspberry with the sugar in it and a beautiful line of the gold luster dust. This is those really beautiful transfer sheets. And okay, so this is how the transfer sheet works. You put it on when it's warm, and then when it's cooled, you just peel it off, and you have a Louis Vuitton chocolate. I mean, come on. That is just so cool. All right, so we're going to dip a couple. And this is what the transfer sheets look like when you get them. You just want to cut out some to the right size, and then you can use them. All right. Another tricky part. This is tricky. There's no two ways about it. This is a tricky thing to do. So I'm just gonna place my chocolate into my tempered chocolate, place my ganache. There's if you Google how to dip a chocolate, you are gonna find 50,000 ways. So again, I'm trying to kind of have that chocolate at the end of this fork and trying to get as much of that off as possible. And then I'm going to gently and carefully I did a good job. I hope you guys can see that.
Yeah, you didn't have to touch it to get it off. It just slid.
Yeah. So again, covering it.
Can everybody see that well enough, what she's doing to have it make sense? So dipping it, lifting it out with the fork.
So I got it kind of on the edge of that fork, and now I'm keeping it flat to dip. I mean to tap that excess chocolate off of there. So I'm tapping on the clean part, and then I'm pulling it off on the chocolate part, because otherwise all of a sudden the entire bowl is just rimmed with chocolate, and it is quite messy. And then just laying it down to cool. So while it's cooling, I'm going to add a transfer sheet. So you want to make sure you feel it. The rough side is where the cocoa butter is. And can you see this? Mm-hmm. You just place it on top gently. Just can press it down just a little bit. And voila. There's so many different of course, my favorite are the Louis Vuitton. Just can't believe they make these. So you're gonna let that cool. Continue with my dipping. Just putting it in the chocolate. You can turn it over. If you made your chocolate in kind of a large bowl like I did, I might turn it sort of on its side so there's a bigger puddle of chocolate here instead of like all at the bottom, just only in an inch of chocolate. You don't want to leave it in there too long because you don't want it to melt.
If you were using a regular like dinner fork because you didn't get a chocolate fork, is it the same process or any differences?
See what I just did? I just dropped it in there, but it's okay. Yes, you can use a regular dinner fork. it doesn't kind of tap out as well because this has so much space, but it will work for sure. Well, you know what? I mean, I practiced this and it's working a lot better. So very.
It's not as scary as you thought, right?
Yeah, it's just fun to realize that you just have to practice a little and then you can become a master.
So we have about 5 minutes left. If Audrey wants to stay a few minutes for some more decorating, or if anybody has any last questions, now is a good time to get them into the chat. I'll just go over my few little closing announcements while Audrey is dipping a few more. This class was recorded. Like I said, it will take a while to go up on our website, but I will send an email out to everybody when it goes up, so you'll be able to watch it again. Audrey is teaching again in a couple weeks with us, December 12th, for her Bûche de Noël Yule log cake. And I will send a survey link out tomorrow, and that is another really great place for you to list other classes that you're interested in seeing from Audrey or from other instructors of ours. Really helpful to kind of look at what people want and tailor classes to that. So keep an eye out for that survey link tomorrow. Would love to get your feedback and would love to get pictures and testimonials if you make any of these.
Yeah, I would love to see them. So, I mean, I just want to sort of reiterate that this is a little tricky of a technique, but just practice and have fun with it, and don't worry if it doesn't turn out perfectly. I want to show you a couple other things. I got these little cute dried rose petals I could add. Of course, sea salt is, you know, everyone's favorite topping these days. If I wanted to add some of this powder that I was telling you about, the raspberry powder that I made.
Somebody asks, is there a risk that the tempered chocolate shell will cool too much while you're dipping? Then what? I think you say in the instructions you have to
reheat it again.
Retemper it.
Yes,
Yep.
retemper it.
And then somebody else asks, can you roll the ganache into little balls rather than squares?
You can. Usually you would use a soft ganache, which did we put the soft ganache? No, we didn't, but
it's a different ratio of cream, right?
Yeah, actually a soft ganache is the same amount of cream and chocolate. The hard ganache is 12 ounces of chocolate and 4 ounces of cream. So you could make it exactly the same as we did for the other one, and then you could just put it in a bowl like this and let it harden, put it in the fridge, probably because it's a softer ganache, and then scoop out, you know, however big you want to make your truffle balls, and roll them in your hands. And then the easiest thing to do is to dip those in a cocoa powder, or, you know, even one of these types of powders. And I wish that this was cooling down quicker, because I really want to show you how amazing it looks to use the luster dust. I'm just going to use this one here that I already used a little. Can you see my hand here?
Yep.
Okay.
So the luster dust, you want to wait until it's cool. You don't want to pan it on while it's hot. Okay.
You want to have it
Great.
cool. So this is getting a little thick. I might have to add just a teensy tiny bit more. You have to be careful because you really only need a
drop.
How did that become 5 drops? That's okay. God, this stuff is so cool looking. I love it. It makes everything look super fancy.
We had the person answering, you don't need to temper the chocolate for the English toffee. So there you go, for the person that was looking for that.
Oh, great.
It's just untempered chocolate.
Okay, so here I have a cooled truffle, and I'm just painting on
Nice.
with the gold luster dust. And
It's very ethereal, very like sparkly fairy magic looking.
And also very like chic.
Does it taste really lemony?
No, there's just a tiny, tiny amount of all of that in here. So
someone asked, per the question about the chocolate cooling, what temperature is your chocolate at now? You seem to be able to keep going with dipping despite a fair amount of time passing. So like if you temp it.
Yeah, let's see what is the temperature here. So if it started getting too thick, it's at 82 right now.
Yeah.
If it started getting too thick, I might just put it on the double boiler for like 2 seconds, bring it off, and see if it's loosened up a little bit. But yeah, the other thing you could do, which I thought about doing, is having sort of like a warm towel around the outside on your table around that to keep it warm.
So we are at 7, so if people need to log off, totally understand, but I'm just going to decorate, I think, a few more, and then we will say goodnight, and I'm going to eat some shortbread because it's been torture staring at it and not eating it.
Wait, I want to show you one last little thing. This is so cute. This is called Feverfew, and I pressed it and dried it, and it's edible. It's an edible flower, and how cute is that? So then you would let these dry completely, and then you could box them up. And I think I wrote in the directions. Did I?
At the very bottom, room temp for 3 to 4 days or in the fridge for 2 weeks.
Yeah, so those last really well for presents as well. And I mean, who wouldn't want to get a gift of this?
You made the experience of cooking great. Brilliant. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, thank you. Well, I've really enjoyed sharing my love for making really special things with you. And I hope that you will join us again for the Bûche de Noël. And then in the future, hopefully Valentine's Day, definitely go to pokerhillflowerfarm.com. We're just putting up a new cooking page right now. Hopefully it'll be up maybe tomorrow. And I hope you have a great holiday season.
Awesome. Everybody's just saying thank you so much in the chat. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and end the event for everybody. Thank you all so much, and hopefully we'll see you logging on again soon. Good night.
Good night.